Welcome to Tuesday Night Live, y'all. Hopefully I was able to clickbait all of you guys into clicking on this video because I got that adorable dog in the thumbnail, which actually I just pointed my camera at this, thing, the mouse pad. Anyways, just a quick note there that you guys just got clickbaited so hard. I'm a Jake Pauler. Welcome post non-live, what do you want to call it? Welcome non-live view. Oh, let me stretch my neck. Welcome non-live viewers to Tuesday Night Live. Tuesday Night Live is a show that I do live that you should have been there for, but you weren't, which is a bummer. But Tuesday Night Live is a thing that I do Tuesdays at 8. Come next week, it'll be great. Because right now you're watching in the post, so I don't know, this is weird. I'm talking to the audience that is not here on Tuesday nights live, because those people will come in later and they won't see this part. So the only way you're seeing this part is if you went back and watched the recording of Tuesday Night Live. So yeah, next Tuesday 8 o'clock. I haven't forgotten in quite. It's like the 4th week in a row. How great is that? Welcome one viewer to Tuesday Night Live. Drop your name and social security number right down here in the live chat. And welcome aboard. So the way Tuesday Night Live works, oh, you're gone actually. So I'll just continue talking to the recorded folks. I hope I didn't scare them away when I said enter your social security number. Please don't actually. That's probably not a good thing to put in. That was a joke, but it probably wasn't a good joke, considering YouTube is pretty strict about their community guidelines. Not that they'll ever watch this, but, you know, in the rare case that someone flags it and the YouTube dude watches a minute and 59 seconds in, he'll see that, they'll be like, oh boy, what are you doing, man? Welcome, live viewer. Please do not put your social security number in the live chat. Because, yeah, but in the live chat, put your name, say what's up, say hi, say I'm a Jake Paul. Actually, please, I hope you're not a Jake Pauler. So yeah, so the way Tuesday Night Live works is you live viewers come drop in questions, and if there's only one of you like there is right now, then you have to drop in a lot of questions, because otherwise there won't be anything to talk about. And it's really no fun when there's nothing to talk about. So yeah, so live viewer, come drop in questions in the live chat. No question is a bad question, because it's always going to be better than no questions. So I won't ridicule you like I would if you ask it in a vlog comment section. Not that I really do that in the first place, but anyways, yeah, so, until then, we're just gonna have to talk about boring stuff, and that's no fun, so please ask a question. Question could be like, what's your favorite map? Speaking of maps, okay, I was like, I can't think of anything, I'm gonna read the nutrition facts on this jar of peanuts. But I just thought, so maps, actually, we're probably not gonna talk about this for a while. We could. So a while ago, I was looking at a map of Canberra, Australia, and I thought, wow, that's a dope layout, so it inspired me to make my own layout. So first, I'm going to talk, I think, oh, geez, I always hold the scissors, by the way. The scissors, Tuesday Night Live is really, there's a lot of key components that are not necessarily intentional that it's becoming now, that are a trademark of it. Tuesday, that was actually an intentional trademark of Tuesday Night Live. But always putting dumb things in, originally, the thumbnail was me trying to smile, but then I realized that I have bad facial expressions, so I started taking pictures of this box of Sprites I have right here, and the dog, or the M&M bag, or next we'll probably take a picture of the Dr. Pepper. So the thumbnail is always something, a picture, actually. Is it a picture? I don't know. It's like a logo or something like that, and then another key trademark is I'm constantly holding and messing around with these scissors. Ow! Oh, I just cut myself. It actually didn't cut myself, though. I just scratched. Okay. Another key trademark of Tuesday Night Live is probably Drew now coming in and talking to me about, impact and ping pong tables. Yes? Yes? Okay. Anyway, so clearly my live chat audience does not want to drop in live chat. So yeah, definitely relying on Drew at this point to show up. Or I thought there were other people that are gonna show up. I don't know. A surprisingly large amount of people have found out about this, but whatever. It's Tuesday night, 8 o'clock, and not everyone's here. Oh no. Oh man, I thought I had a late start tomorrow, but I don't. Oh, rip. Okay. I think one time the thumbnail might have been this New York thing. I don't know. I think the thumbnail's been sprayed a few times. I have an elf on the shelf back here. Alright, so we're going to talk about first. We're talking about city maps because no one else is dropping in anything interesting to talk about. And I've made a vlog about this before, but it's always fun to talk about. Now we're going to compare two grid styles. Grid is, in my opinion, a fairly superior way of designing a city, because if you just had random roads squiggling around everywhere, which unfortunately is mandatory in the mountains, you get some really screwed up stuff. Like one time me and my father and I almost said me and my dad. Okay, well anyways, I was trying to fix my grammar. My father and I were driving through Lake Arrowhead, and they insane. Like, this isn't just like twisting up. This is like wow, like really weird twists. And there's this one. This is why you just go with the grid. Hey, welcome second viewer. Second viewer. Usually the second viewer is when it starts getting good. Drop your name in the live chat down below and ask questions. Right now we're talking about city layouts, but at least acknowledge your presence so I know if you're okay. You're gone. Anyways, the mountain road, it came in and then it made a sharp U-turn. Like, I'm talking like practically almost a 180. It was probably 160 degrees. But at the end of, like, right at the end of that U-turn, there's a side street coming off that is completely parallel with the previous trajectory of the street. So my dad, comes around the corner and we drive right onto the next street without realizing that we just entered a side street, and then we come to the dead end. We're like, oh, the rest of the road turned, didn't it? Luckily, it was not a long side street, but this is off, I think it's California 173. So that's why you don't do that. Well, that's one reason why. Other reason why is very inefficient. If you need to go somewhere, you're going to have a really hard... Generally, if you're squiggling, you're not going to have a pretty direct path. Very bad connection. Ooh. I have a red bar on the top of my screen. I don't know why that's there. I also have a very bad connection. That probably means that I'm going to start cutting out. Why do I have a bad connection? I'm on the Wi-Fi. I have full bars of Wi-Fi. My Bluetooth is on. Ooh, man. Bad connection. Bad connection. Woo. This is... It's like switching... whoa. It's like switching. It's like switching. It's like switching. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Poor connection. Okay. Very bad connection. Oh, man. Woo! Someone is, like, live streaming 12 YouTube videos at the same... Actually, I'm live streaming YouTube video. I was trying to come up with an example of something that uses a lot of bandwidth. And we're back. Oh, thank goodness. Why is there a red bar? I don't know why there's a red bar on the top of my screen. I honestly don't. Whatever. We'll get used to it. It must have something to do with the... Something must have popped itself out. I don't know. Programs. Well, we have a constant bad connection, so I'm just going to talk through the bad connection. Feel free to drop in the live chat. I don't know. But, when you have the two main things is when you don't have straight grid-like roads, is you're really confused most of the time, and also, there's not a direct way to get to your route. So a lot of times I like looking at mountain roads, or actually just honestly, kind of city layouts in general. Sometimes you'll have, you have your main road, and then but you don't want, people coming right into the neighborhood from the main road. So there's a few access points to the neighborhood off the main road. And then, sometimes to get to the house, the backyard is right up to the main road. You have to go all the way around and go through these random loops and stuff, to get there because, they want it to be, you don't want to have your house, you don't want your driveway backing up onto a busy street. So, that's an example. But, you know, also just in mountains in general, you have some, you have some things where there's too steep, and even if it's not too far up, ooh, did we just come back? Alright, so our connection is back. That's good. We still only have one viewer, though. But you'll have things sometimes where you have, it's not too far up, but it's so steep, and it's kind of an entire ledge, kind of shelf thing that's really steep. So to get to a house, right behind you, you wind up driving for a really long time. Or if there's a canyon or something, you wind up having to go really long ways around to get to, a place. I'm trying to think of a popular example, or a body of water. But body of water is more obvious. Anyways, so grids are superior. That's what I was saying. And there's two types of grid patterns. There's a primary grid pattern, and there's a standard grid pattern that you think of when you think of a grid pattern. And there's the two largest cities in the U.S. have adopted either one. New York has a standard grid pattern. LA has a primary grid pattern. If you look at a map of LA, if you kind of zoom to where most of LA is in your frame on Google Maps, you see, especially if you look up in the San Fernando Valley, above the mountain range, in between the two mountain ranges, you see a nearly perfect grid of roads going up and down. But if you zoom in between it's a grid not of roads, but a grid of primary roads. The boulevards, the parkways, the we don't have expressways in LA. The parkways and boulevards, and sometimes you get, let's see, there's Hollywood I guess LA's pretty good about naming stuff after boulevards, not streets. You don't have too many big streets going around, trying to think of a big, let's see, Sepulveda going up to 405, that's Sepulveda Boulevard, that's not a street, Santa Monica Boulevard, Hollywood Boulevard, Wilshire Boulevard, yeah, those are kind of the primary, so LA's boulevards. But anyways, you have this grid of boulevards, but in between inside you have these huge squares of the grid, like a graph paper, you have the big squares in the middle, and in there, it is absolutely not a grid. There are winding neighborhoods, maybe you have some hills in there, so you have some roads that have to kind of swiggle around hills, or you just have a weird planned out neighborhood layout in general. Oh my gosh, we have a very bad connection again. Or you have a standard grid pattern like New York City, where they just have a whole bunch of streets running north, a whole bunch of streets running east, and south and west, same thing. But just a constant grid, nothing in the middle. Every single street goes all the way up the city. And here's the problems with these kind of things. The thing I respect about the New York grid pattern is it's so easy. It's very, very easy to figure out the layout of a city. It's super easy. If you went to New York, especially when half the streets are named, like 1st Street, 2nd Street, 3rd Street. And I believe I know there's a lot of exceptions. As always, we're the real city, there's exceptions. But I think I read somewhere that, even streets go north-south and odd streets go... Oh, I have a map of New York right here, you idiot. No, I put it on the wall, actually. Okay, I was wrong about that. Oh no, you have streets and avenues. So avenues go north-south, it looks like probably, and streets go east-west. So you have a really easy, you can find anything like, hey, it's on the corner of 37th Street and 5th Avenue. You know exactly where that is, because 5th Avenue, who doesn't know where 5th Avenue is? 37th Street, well, it's right past 36th, right before 38th. And just with a system like that, everything, man, life is so easy. You can get anywhere very, very directly. Just go down the street. You go until you hit the one street, and then you go down that street until you hit the other one, and then all of a sudden you hit the cross streets, you're right there. Downsides of having this standard grid pattern: there is no residential street in existence. Every street in New York is a New York street. That was a dumb statement. Okay. But there's no quiet residential streets with houses lining, we'll talk about that later. Basically every street there's no street where kids can go play in the street or whatever. Every street is a viable street for taxi cabs to drive up and down, and people going around the city to drive up and down. And every cross street is a viable place for a traffic light, because you never have a minor street. Doppeltube, I just got an email. Doppeltube is now live. That's good to hear. You never have a minor street intersecting the main street. Every street is a main street, a major roadway. Now, there are quite a few, this isn't, a perfect thing, because obviously in New York, there are some streets that are busier than others. Hi, Craig. So glad to have you here. There are some streets that are busier than others, but for the most part, every street can be equal to a certain extent, whereas a primary grid pattern like LA has, which I think is superior. Bye, Craig. You have major roadways in a grid, so if you need to go somewhere, you say, hey, it's on the corner of, let's see, Wilshire and Sepulveda. Those streets intersect, I think. Corner of Wilshire and Sepulveda. Everyone knows what Wilshire is. Everyone knows what Sepulveda is. So really easy to get there. You just go up. What's another street? Let's say you go up Hollywood Boulevard till you get to Wilshire, and then you go down Wilshire till you get to. And then you go down Wilshire goes no. No, you go down Hollywood Boulevard to Sepulveda, and then you take Sepulveda down to where it hits Wilshire. Hey, now you're kind of in the general area, right? But it's really efficient for travel, because you have some roadways that, you give them 4 lanes or whatever, so cars can go really fast. Also, since you have less, not every street intersecting is a major street, you have long blocks with no major streets intersecting, then you're able to have far less traffic lights. So the primary roadways can handle the usage. Nothing's really on them, and they have little traffic lights so you can go. And then off those streets, you might have one traffic light in between 2 of the boulevards, as entrance points to these neighborhoods, because the neighborhoods need traffic lights to get onto, a main road like Santa Monica Boulevard. But you would use, whoa, I just lost my train of thought. You could use these, those boulevards. You enter the neighborhood or the community or whatever it is, and get around quietly and easily. This also allows for bigger things, like in a place like New York, there is no room for a stadium, although they do have a Yankee stadium. Well, but, they wind up killing off dead-ending streets to get a stadium in, or to get a huge whatever you want in, because there's always limits, because, the next street over. Whereas in a big grid, you could drop Dodger Stadium in anywhere and have full-size stadium with a full-size parking lot. It'll take up the entire block, but it's there, and it's not obstructing any of the roadways. None of those streets that people are actually using are going to be obstructed, and they're like, oh, I have to go around. You can have malls, you can have... Who's knocking at the door? Well, I'm live streaming, man. Shoot, I'm gonna have to go get the door, I think. No, Dad's here. He can unlock it. Okay. So then also, if you want to put, like, in New York, malls are gonna be more compact, whereas if you have this primary layout, you're gonna be able to fit in malls. Really, you can put in really large, expansive, beautiful, wide open malls, and not worry about cutting off roads. So there's just more room generally to put bigger things in. Or you could have, a whole bunch of residential neighborhoods packed in between these streets. You could have your commercial business districts, which I kind of talked about with the malls. But, an industrial area. So you can have anything kind of in there, whereas New York, everything goes, You have the same street with apartments and, Beam Studios and... I don't think there's too much industrial work going on in New York. But I don't know. Anyways, you get what I'm saying. No one is actually here, so I'm probably going to cut it, like, right now. I have a little bit more math homework. So, I hope you all enjoyed this week's Tuesday Night Live. If you did enjoy this week's Tuesday Night Live, leave a like. If you did not dislike, remember to share your opinion in the live chat down below. And I'll see you next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Bye, bye, bye.